and welcome back to the game show. I'm Jack Lucas Caffrey, and joining with me is James Goulding and Jack Gibney. Say hi, guys.
Hello. I am Jack, yes.
Hi guys, it's James here. Nice to be back for another episode, and I'm looking forward to the chat today.
Good to hear, James. What about you, Jack? How are you doing today?
I don't think I need to say.
Come on, tell the story, Jack. Tell the story.
Right, so I accidentally started streaming. I was signing up for a f***ing tournament.
Excuse the
Probably shouldn't
language.
swear, but whatever. Yeah, sorry about that. And I accidentally streamed myself, putting my credit card details into the website.
How did you manage doing that?
I had a hotkey. I probably pressed off it.
Oh my god, he's so annoyed. He's actually swearing it. Anyway,
I'm trying my hardest not to. I'm trying my absolute hardest.
Well, either way, not only do we have James and Jack with us today, we also have a little bit of a special guest presenter, because I wasn't able to get the fourth presenter for the game show, unfortunately, and I also wanted to be on his little show, Rotten Potatoes, so I thought it was only fair he came onto the game show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Adderley, everybody.
Yo, that's me. That's me. That's my name. I'm David Adderley. It's such a great privilege to be on the game show. I'm ready to talk about some good old video gaming, which you lot, even though I don't really know that much about video games, I'll be honest with the listeners, I haven't got a lot of experience in terms of the terminology, but I have an emotional connection with games that I can offer about my beautiful memories as a child playing video games. That's pretty much what I'm going to offer today.
Well, we will be speaking about David's emotional connection to video games, especially the Lego games, so stay tuned for that. But first, what we're going to do is speak about a video game that just got recently announced, and it actually got announced today when we're recording this. So there is a new Pac-Man compilation called Pac-Man Museum Plus. It's coming out on every console and includes 14 original Pac-Man games, including the original game, Super Pac-Man, Pac-Mania, Pac-Man Arrangement, Pac-Man Championship Edition, Pac-Man Battle Royale, and many, many more that you probably don't even care for, including myself. But it has excited a lot of Pac-Man fans. A lot of people are really looking forward to it because a lot of the games haven't been released on new platforms in a long, long time. The only thing people aren't very happy about is that Miss Pac-Man ain't in it, but if you know your Pac-Man, you know that Miss Pac-Man is in a bit of a licensing issue at the moment, so we can understand that for the moment. Guys, what do you think about the new Pac-Man compilation?
I saw it when on Twitter when I was waiting for guitar lessons, and I was like, okay, nice. I don't know. I was just like, oh, cool.
Some great insight.
I probably won't buy it, but whatever.
What about you, David?
Well, I have to say now, the most of experience I've had with Pac-Man is when I'm sitting in, I'm not going to specify the class, but in a very boring class in school, and I do Google's version of Pac-Man, and I have to say I'm class at it. But a compilation, I will say that a compilation of all the old Pac-Man games, and is that like all the loads of classic games that came out like years ago?
Yeah, it includes like the original Pac-Man game from 1980 up to, which I forgot to mention, Pac-Man 256, which released back in 2015. So yeah, David, quite a broad range.
Well, what I'll say about that is, just from an outsider's perspective, that already sounds like, you know, for Pac-Man fans, that sounds like a really, really exciting news, because you get it all in one. You know, obviously, you can go through the decades playing all the different Pac-Man games and just seeing the evolution of it. And I think that's a really interesting concept. Also, very smart on the Pac-Man creators and the distributors of the game to do something like that, because I feel like that's gonna sell for that's gonna sell pretty well in terms of nostalgia and all that kind of stuff. So, have to say, it sounds like a pretty smart idea.
Yeah, I'd have to totally agree, David. James, is there anything you'd like to add about the new Pac-Man Museum Plus?
On the Pac-Man front, I'm not a huge Pac-Man man myself, and I do think Pac-Man is a game that'll always grow sales. It'll always get out to the consumers who want to play it. So I think the release of a new game is good for the fan base.
Yeah, I would have to agree. And from the one Pac-Maniac I happen to know, Matt, shoutouts to you, he's quite excited, so I'm pretty sure any Pac-Man fan will be quite excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's because it's releasing on every console, including the Switch, even on PC as well, so I'm quite happy about it. I'll probably get it for the Switch, and yeah, not really much else to say about it other than all the stuff that we've already mentioned. But there is another game that got announced last week, or was it the week before? Jack, correct me on this. It's called Multiversus, and it's a Warner Brothers fighting game. Jack, tell me all about it.
I think it was only announced like yesterday. it was leaked ages ago, but like
Yeah, I remember being leaked. I remember you sending me a picture of the character roster. I was like, what? This is a game?
And I just got ice cream on myself, so hopefully that
won't read. Hopefully that won't read.
yeah, hopefully.
You might be able to hear the depression in his voice, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, they're making a Warner Bros. I'm trying so hard. This is the worst.
I suppose when you get your credit card details leaked, all you can do is just swear for the entire time.
I have to let my anger out at something,
Well, try let it out afterwards, please.
Yeah,
Pretty please.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll make an attempt.
Anyway, Multiversus.
Okay, Multiversus is a Warner Bros. Platform fighter, and the platform fighter genre is getting like pretty popular as of now. They did one with Nickelodeon, and the devs of Slap City made it, which is another platform fighter that was released. I don't know when, but it was released. It includes like Warner Bros. Characters, of course, like Bugs Bunny, Shaggy, who else? Batman, Superman, and all that, all that sort of stuff. Best part is that it's being made by the Mortal Kombat devs, so hopefully they know what they're doing with the fighting game.
Well, considering it is made by the Mortal Kombat developers, I'm pretty sure, because Mortal Kombat has been going on for years, it's been doing pretty well. I'm pretty sure they'll know what to do. There's a lot of other characters as well, including Cartoon Network characters like Steven Universe, Jake from Adventure Time, and Tom and Jerry is in it as well.
I'm gonna be a Tom and Jerry man. I'm a Tom and Jerry man.
Tom and Jerry all the way, all the way.
Even he's struggling.
Yeah, man, I'm just like you.
But yeah, there's just a load of characters. It seems really interesting. I hope they pull it off really well. James, David, what do you two think about it?
Yeah, in terms of Multiversus, I think it's a really interesting idea from Warner Brothers, and I think it's finally putting something up against Smash. It's putting a competitor there, and the characters that they've managed to get licenses for, I know most of them are part of the Warner Brothers universe, but like the amount of characters they can provide nearly equals Nintendo, or even outreaches them really. The amount of licenses like they have for the game is crazy, and it really appeals to the young generation with all cartoons, and it has so much potential as a game, and I think it really will be a big money maker for Warner Brothers, and I think it's a great idea as well. I mean, the lineup of characters they have, it was only announced on last Thursday. The characters they have: Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, obviously all of the DC universe, but also Arya Stark from Game of Thrones, Adventure Time, Steven Universe. They just have lots, and it appeals to a lot of the young generation, and I'm sure older people as well. But I think it's finally good that Smash Brothers has some competition and some alternative to compare it against, because really Smash Brothers has only been decided if it's good or not by its own community, but now finally it has a competitor. So maybe it'll be good for Nintendo and Warner Brothers in terms of competitive competition against each other, and really pushing these type of platformer battle games to the next level.
Yeah, James, I definitely would have to agree about that. I think more competition, the better. Just better for the consumer. David, what about you? What do you think?
So, you're telling me that the people behind Mortal Kombat are kind of helping with this game. Is that what you're saying? Or am I missing something?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, I know Mortal Kombat is a very, very popular fighting game. So I think right decision bringing some dogs in who know what the story is in terms of how these kind of game works and the functionality of them. So I think smart decision. Like I said, I'm coming from this from just an outsider's perspective, what I can see by my very limited knowledge, but sounds like a good idea. And all those characters, it reminded me of the Space Jam movie, where they just stick a load of characters. But in this, it seems like a fun thing being able to play all those different characters. Already, half the characters you said, I was like, oh my god, I'd love to play as them. Do you know what I mean? And putting them all in one game is very, very, very clever. And then getting the lads behind Mortal Kombat. Or women, you know? Or women. I don't know who made it. But, yeah, I think it sounds like an interesting game now, I have to say. And, yeah, for sure. It sounds interesting.
Hopefully, because the Mortal Kombat devs are doing it, hopefully it could get some form of like esports representation.
Oh,
that could be interesting now that you say that. Yeah, that'd be really.
They did it for Nick All-Stars, which is cool. They got a bunch of like top players for Smash, like to play the game, enter tournaments and stuff like that. It has a pretty big player base, but I haven't heard much from the game recently.
No, I haven't heard anything, especially because Sora was announced for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the same day Nick All-Stars Brawl released. So let's move on from that and speak about Sora and Super Smash Bros. Have you tried him, Jack? What do you think of him?
I might as well talk about where he comes from first. So Sora comes from a game called Kingdom Hearts. It was developed by Square Enix and Disney. It's like Final Fantasy, I guess. I've never actually played the game, so I can't say if it's exactly like Final Fantasy. It's an RPG. It's like Final Fantasy, okay? But it has a lot of Disney characters. Pixar, just Disney in general. In fact, Donald Duck and Goofy are the two main characters, or two of the main characters is like Sora's like companions or whatever. I've thought about playing the game because of how hysterical it sounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, Final Fantasy characters show up in some of the games, like Cloud and stuff like that. Which is It's really funny seeing Sephiroth, Cloud, and all that in the same spot as Donald Duck. But yeah, his inclusion in Smash. Sora plays kind of like he honestly plays almost exactly how he plays in Kingdom Hearts. You know, his neutral special is kind of like a thing that like switches between three things, like a fire thing, a ice thing, and a thunder thing. Don't know what they're called. It's like Firaga or something like that. And whenever you use one of those, it automatically switches to the next one. It's in like a rotation, so it's like fire, thunder, ice, and then it's back to fire, thunder, ice, and it keeps rotating like that every time you use the move. Which is a cool idea because like it adds a bit of strategy, I guess. As to what you're about to use next. I don't know if that's what Sora players do, because I don't know much about the character in general and like how they play. But I know that they play pretty like combo heavy, kind of like Kingdom Hearts, like those types of games. He has his own stage, has his own music. Unfortunately, no Mickey Mouse Clubhouse theme.
Oh my god, I wish that was in it.
The only problem with Sora and Smash is that they couldn't actually get any of the Disney stuff, like actual proper Disney stuff, except for like a Mickey Mouse logo or a Disney logo, whatever it is. I don't know what it'd be considered. I'm just gonna say Mickey Mouse.
It's a Mickey Mouse logo. It's Mickey Mouse. Come on.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse head logo, whatever. He has a Mickey Mouse keychain, on the end of his sword, which is really funny in its own right, because Mickey Mouse is now referenced in Smash directly.
Yeah, I never thought I'd see the day where Captain Falcon would be looking at Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. The overall reception, on like when he was announced, it was a bit mixed. There are people who were really, really disappointed about the character, and there were people bawling their eyes out over Sora because of how long people have been waiting for him to be added to the game. I was like, okay. I was excited at first because I thought it'd be really funny that Disney stuff would be getting in, and then I heard that they couldn't actually get that in. And I was a little bit let down because that was the only reason I really wanted Sora in the game. Yeah, that's Sora. He has different alts. He has an alt that's like an alternate costume. That's like a reference to something in the game, but I'm just gonna call it the Disney alt, the Steamboat Willie alt. I don't know what it's I don't know what the area in the game is actually called, but like he looks like really like early Disney. He's it's like a really early Disney design, I guess. I don't know anything about Kingdom Hearts. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I actually did react to it, and I was shocked, to say the least, that Sora got in. Very happy for Kingdom Hearts fans. I can completely understand the reasoning why they got Sora in, but and I can understand why Goofy and Donald Duck aren't in the game, because if they're already kind of drawing a line with getting Sora into it, so like. If they got Goofy and Donald, then that would just literally open up to a Warner Bros. Multiversus situation where we could get Batman and Shrek and Goku.
I mean, I was kind of expecting it.
So nothing else to add there?
Trying to think. He has a key, which is cool, I guess. I hope Donald's a character in the next game.
Well, we must move on now from Sora because James actually has 2 video games to review. Let's actually start off with the first one that I'm actually looking forward to hearing about, which is F1 2021. Now, this is a game I'm really looking forward to playing, and I'm hoping to play sometime soon whenever I get an Xbox Series X. But in the meantime, James, just tell me everything about the new F1 game and what's it like to play?
Yeah, F1 22 was released earlier this year after EA purchased Codemasters. And personally, I think the game is really good for the price point it's at. Obviously, it's a sports game, so it is the same concept year on year on year. But the game has really improved in realistic senses. I think from last year, it's a lot more realistic handling system and car system. And to be honest, the tracks feel great. I really enjoy playing the game. Maybe I don't enjoy the competitive aspect as much as last year. I think with F1 becoming so popular with Drive to Survive and obviously really high viewership rates, there's more how do you say, noobs are not as experienced players on the game. So it is a bit frustrating sometimes when you come up against dirty drivers. But one of the unique selling points for F1 2021 this year was that for their deluxe edition, you'd get F1 icons in the career. So it's not like FIFA icons, it's more like icons are drivers that you can get to race for your team in the career mode. So we have Massa, Rosberg, Prost, Schumacher, Webber, and Senna and Button. And they're the drivers you can get to manage your team in career mode. And I think they've really improved from last year. Last year was a huge step for Codemasters in really expanding the career mode and expanding the story and making it accessible to everyone to play. And I think they've done it this year. The story mode this year was very good, and I'm really enjoying the game this year.
Yeah, and I also believe that David Jawline Coulthard is in the F1 icons as well. Actually, do speak to me about the F1 story mode. I believe it's called Breaking Point, and it's actually the first F1 game, I'm pretty sure, that has actually contained a story mode to it. So, like, kind of following off the footsteps of, like, FIFA 17 and all that. So yeah, James, just speak to me about the Breaking Points and how good is it?
Yeah, I played Breaking Point and finished it pretty much in the first week that it was out. Good story. It's about a young new F1 driver, Aiden Jackson, who comes in as the teammate of a very experienced one, Casper Ackerman. I'd kind of take it as like one of the rookies, Mick Schumacher meets Kimi Räikkönen, and they kind of have a bitter rivalry with each other, but eventually they all come to a kind of happy ending. And yeah, I think it's a good story. I'd say it's about 6-7 hours of gameplay, so it's not massively long, but it is pretty interesting, and it kind of leads newer players into the game, so I did enjoy that.
Well, actually, 6 to 7 hours is actually really good, James, for me. Like, you know, a lot of games that I tend to play is like an hour long or 2 hours. Like, like a couple of my favorite games, I could beat in like, I don't know, like about an hour and 10 minutes. So yeah, plenty of content if I go and get it. One thing actually I'd like to ask you about is, the Breaking Point story sounds really good, but I believe the classic cars from F1 2020 are gone. Do you think Breaking Point is sort of, a good replacement for the classic cars, and is it still worth getting F1 2021 despite the lack of the classic cars?
In terms of the classic cars, it was a big removal. I really enjoyed racing with the classic cars, but to be honest, I think it's just a license issue, and it's not much of a deal breaker. If you're there for the racing and enjoying sim racing, definitely buy the new one. I'd say more of an audience. But if you're a fan of the classic cars, there's different games that provide that as well. So, yeah, I think F1 2021 is worth the money, and especially now around this time of year, Black Friday coming up. If you're gonna buy games, get them now.
Yeah, I suppose so. I get your point there. Yeah, I'd say I definitely will be getting F1 2021, and I'll probably, if it goes on sale or it's a little cheaper, get F1 2020, or just get it because I want those classic cars. So, but yeah, F1 2021 out now, and as James said, it is Black Friday, so get the games now, especially like any game really, because of the big sales going on. Yeah, go get your games. Another game I believe you're also reviewing, James, is Battlefield 2042. Now, you spoke about this game at E3 and told us about the the brutal price of €80 that was going to be on that game. How is it going with Battlefield 2042? Because I have heard some mixed thoughts about it.
Battlefield 2042 released there for early access buyers last week, and really the reaction to its outcoming has been really mixed. I mean, a lot of the reviews from websites have been very good, but reviews from the consumer itself, they've been very mixed. There's been a lot of bugs in the game, but I think people are making too much of a deal out of these bugs. Battlefield's only come out once every 3 years. There's obviously a lot of time for them to fix this. In terms of price point, €80 on next gen consoles seems like the new normal, which I'm not a big fan of. But for a game of this quality, it'll stick around for 3 years. So realistically, you're only paying €30 a year for a really good game. In terms of bugs have been pretty high on the game, but again, it's only been out for a week, so I think people have to manage their expectations. Battlefield has a great track record of providing really good games, and I think it's the first modern game since Battlefield 4, so there's been 2 Battlefields in between, and I really think, again, Battlefield is just pushing on against Call of Duty. Call of Duty is its biggest competitor, and Vanguard's got a great response, so I think it'll be interesting to see the reception to Battlefield over the next 3 years. Again, much modern game, and I think with the graphics it has and the potential it has, it could be one of the best grossing selling games of all time. It really is top quality, and if it gets an audience, it can really go far.
Well, that seems pretty good from what you actually said about it, James. Yeah, unfortunate that it does have a couple of bugs. Hopefully they fix them out over time. Yeah, 80 quid though, James. I still can't really understand the 80 quid. So, do you feel like the game is worth 80 quid, or is it just a lot of nonsense and it should be 60?
Yeah, I think for the price that Battlefield are charging, obviously most next gen games are going to be put at that price point or in and around that, and I think realistically the value isn't bad for money. It's a game that only releases a new game every 3 years, where Call of Duty releases a new game at that price every year. So I do think it'll be worth the value eventually, and it is a really well developed game. So yeah, I would say Battlefield is definitely worth it.
Interesting. Get Battlefield 2042 under James's recommendation, or if you're me, maybe wait to get an Xbox Series X and you can play Halo Infinite. Jack, explain the pricing for Halo Infinite.
Multiplayer is free. The campaign isn't. That's cool.
Yeah.
I might get it, I don't know.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'll get it because I actually have recently gotten into the original Halo, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it's a really good game. Yet to beat the campaign of that. And I also have gotten Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST, but I haven't played those two games yet because I want to beat Halo 1 and maybe get Halo 2 as well. So yeah, Halo Infinite, I think I'll get that definitely, especially with the free multiplayer. So yeah, like, you know, I'm pretty sure Battlefield 2042 and Halo are still pretty good, solid games, but yeah, that's just my sort of stance on that. I'd rather get a free game than an 80 quid one, especially if it's in the same genre. Now, because David is not the biggest know-it-all of video games out there, he has decided to actually speak about his nostalgia for the Lego video games that have came out over the years. So, David, tell me the story all about this.
Yeah, so I got a PS3 when my granddad used some money that his mother left for him to buy me a PS3. And I remember the first game I actually ever played, I don't know if you guys know this game, Little Big Planet.
Oh, we do, yeah.
That is like a classic. That is a classic, and I love great memories playing. That was like my first video game experience, and just having that kind of control was so fun to me. Just like literally getting down to the basics of what video games are. You're able to control, you're able to escape where you are in this television screen because you have control over it, and it's finally, you know, being able to complete simple tasks, because life is full of tasks that aren't so simple to complete. So being able to feel a sense of accomplishment in a positive, a safe environment was always just kind of what attracted me to video games, especially when I was growing up. And I have a particular close relationship with Travelers. What are they?
Travelers Tales.
Travelers Tales Lego games. These have been so special to me, because when I was growing up, one of the first ever games when I got bored with Little Big Planet, my dad said, okay, we'll go down to the video game show. We'll go down to Extravision when that used to be a thing. Yeah. And we'll get you a video game. And for whatever reason, I saw, when I was browsing, I didn't have a clue, I was about 5 or 6, I saw a Lego Indiana Jones game. And I was like, alright, we'll get that. So I remember bringing it home, putting it in the PS3, and it actually crashing instantly, which was great. But then because, you know, that's just how it goes. And then took it out, put it back in again, the classic, and it was working, and loved that game. And I just bought every single Lego game after that. There was Pirates of the Caribbean, Lego Batman, oh geez, I'm blanking now, Lego Indiana Jones 2, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga, Lego Star Wars The Clone Wars, there's some Lego Harry Potter 1 to 4, then 5 to 7. I absolutely loved these games, and I don't know what it specifically was. Maybe because I was you know, still a very young child. So I think the simple nature and the kind of what's the word I'm looking for, minimalistic tasks, and you know, like there's not a huge pressure to complete. It's all in good fun. And also I just loved all the stories it was based on, like Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and Pirates of the Caribbean and the like. And it just, the amount of memories I have waking up at 8 o'clock on a Saturday, because that's when I was allowed to wake up and allowed to play video games. I went downstairs, sat on the floor in the room I'm in right now, sat on the floor with a rubbish TV, my PS3 Lego video games. I couldn't have been happier. And I just think that's, you know, obviously I don't know a lot about the terminology or the upcoming news, but I just know that video games in that sort of way have a very important place to me, because they were just ways of self-identity, and just like any other kind of art form, because I do personally believe video games are an art form, as well as a form of media. They are an art form too. I think that you're able to find self-identity and just enjoyment and fun, which is so important, especially when you're growing up. So thank you, Travelers Tales games, for all those blessed memories. Because Lego games hold a special place in my heart, because they were so easy and I was lazy. I didn't want any hard games. I wanted some easy, yeah, break this, hold down circle, build that by itself. Yeah, let me just collect these coins and have unlimited lives. Thanks very much. That's all I needed.
Yeah, well, I can agree. The Lego games are really fun. There's some really fun games. I remember playing Lego Batman 2 a lot. That was a really fun one. That was a really good one, and I loved the movie that they made of that. That they released it like a
Yes.
year. Yeah, the Lego Batman DC Superheroes Unite movie. They just got the game cutscenes and made a movie out of it. It was actually really good. And I remember that game. I remember seeing a couple of them. I didn't play all of them. I think I played a little bit of the Lego Marvel superheroes, but not enough to remember much about it. Lots of games like that. What about you, Jack and James? What about you? Do you have any memories of the Lego games? I know for James, we used to see guys play the Lego games in our primary school. So what about you, Jack?
The only one that I actually like played properly was the Lego Movie one. That one was so good. I love that. It was so fun.
Oh, that's so good.
It
Yeah,
is.
I had that.
It's so
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of Lego games, I have a very brief memory of them, but I did enjoy the games. You know, they were kind of a iconic stamp post of Wii games and DS games. I was a huge fan of the Star Wars ones, and I think I played a couple of Batman's ones here and there. So, yeah, not my most memorable game, but I did really enjoy them. And yeah, I think they still stand. They're still an ongoing industry, so I think it's good to see it still going on now.
One I'd love to play is Lego Dimensions. I've yet to play that.
Neither have I. I never played
Yeah, I
that.
never.
Yeah, I'd love to play that. I'd love to play that as well as that, because there's like Back to the Future characters, there's Doctor Who characters, and you know who's also in it? The Blue Blur himself, Sonic the Hedgehog. So yeah, that's one I kind of want to play, and hopefully one day I'll get to. But yeah, that seems like an interesting game. And yeah, the Traveler's Tales stuff, they're very good, and their lead game designer John Burton, he's an absolute legend. I'd love to chat to him one day. So
Me too.
yeah.
Hey, he could be a future guest.
Yes, he could be. He could be. Let's find his email. Let's stalk him.
Yes, let's do it.
This guy's credit card details out there.
So any other things to say about the Lego games?
Yes. One final thing I do remember, it's a funny memory, is when I used to go to my nana's when I was about 5 or 6. Her son, my uncle, still lived with her at that time. And I think it was like on Wednesdays or something, I'd go down in the morning and wait for my uncle to wake up. And then I'd go into his room and we'd play video games together. And he'd humour me and play my Lego games. And I always had to be the main character. I won't lie, I was a bit of a selfish little so-and-so. I always had to be the main. So if we were playing Indiana Jones, I had to be Indiana Jones. If we were playing Harry Potter, I had to be Harry Potter. And I remember one time he said, "Oh, can I have a go being Indiana Jones?" Just to wind me up. I was about 6. And he like took the controller, switched who would be it. And I went ballistic. I goes, no, what you doing? No, I want to be Indiana Jones. I was not having any of it. So Uncle Brian, you. No, I'm joking. He just did it to. No, he. It was a great way to connect, to bond with my uncle as well. I don't get to see him that much anymore because he lives in Tipperary. So I think I had very special memories with him, and you know I really do. I miss him a lot. Just because I don't get to see him. You know, it's just kind of how it is when you're across the country. But yeah, those kind of memories I get to hang on to, me and him playing Lego games early in the morning, and then every now and then he'd show me one of his games and make sure that I wasn't watching when anything was going on that I shouldn't have been watching, any too violent parts. But I just remember being an absolute awe watching him play, and playing online as well, talking to people from across the world. My uncle met someone by video gaming and then from across the world, and he actually came to visit him from the States.
Gee.
He had been playing video games with him. They met on playing Call of Duty together, and he literally came to visit Ireland because they had made friends through video game. I think that's one of the most special things about him, about video games, is that connection. So, yeah. So there you go.
Defo. Well, that's a great little story there, David. I really enjoyed that. That was something else. And now the game I've been waiting to talk about, and that is Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition.
Oh my god, this game. This is so funny. I love this.
Well, firstly, what an amazing name they chose for this remaster. And secondly, this game has been dumped on by almost everyone. So basically what Rockstar Games decided to do was re-release GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and GTA San Andreas and remaster them. From what I've heard, not a bad collection of Grand Theft Auto games. In fact, probably the best in the entire series. From what I've heard, I'm not a Grand Theft Auto fan. I've played one of them. I don't remember which one, but I remember having a fine old time with it. I really should play GTA. I've never played it. I should try it again.
It's a great game.
I was going to actually get the trilogy on the Switch because I was like, oh, 3 games, $60. Okay, I'm not the biggest GTA guy. Should seem interesting. But after seeing so much performance issues with the game, I think I'm going to pass on it. Jack, talk to me about some of these amazing technical issues.
I think all you have to do is go on Twitter and search up GTA trilogy, whatever it is, and just look what should you look up? GTA trilogy glitch, and you'll probably find a good few.
Can you actually even explain one of the glitches that you actually found on Twitter?
All right, I will explain this to the best of my ability. So the guy is driving in a car. Nothing too special there, and then boom, he just goes flying. In the other direction. I don't know how it even happened. It just happened. And the caption for this is, "It's not a bug, it's a feature."
Another one you were telling me about. Oh God, tell everyone about what I like to call the the wide Putin car, please. Oh my God, that was hilarious.
Oh, okay. So what happens if you swerve your car from left to right over and over again, your car just gets wider. I don't know if it's a certain car in the game or whatever. It just gets wider and wider and wider. You can keep doing it.
Just like in real life.
Yeah, that's it. You can do that in real life as well. I've done it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
There was also a bowling one you mentioned to me. Could you mention the bowling one? What was that about? I didn't actually hear enough about it.
Oh, I couldn't find it when I was talking about it with you. But basically, he just threw the bowling ball. He was in the bowling alley. He threw the bowling ball. He didn't hit any pins, and he just got flung across the room and died.
Again, as David said, like real life.
Yes, just like sure. That's always what happens.
That happened to me in England. Actually, I went bowling with my relatives. That happened to me.
Wow, and you're still here.
I was in critical condition, but I made it.
And not only is there all these technical glitches and errors, not even just that. There's also clipping out of the world. You could clip out of the world in this game. Frame rate drops like crazy from 60 frames per second to 40 something. Why is this is even happening on powerful consoles like the Series X and the PlayStation 5? This shouldn't be happening for a 20-year-old game. I mentioned this about Sonic Colors Ultimate the last time I did the game show. And I mentioned about how the amount of bugs in a 10-year-old game remastered on more powerful hardware shouldn't be like this. For GTA, there's no excuse on this. And as well as that, they did some AI upscaling for some of the textures and some of the for non-nerdy people like David, textures are basically images you put on a 3D object to sort of make it look a little more arty and more realistic. So the AI upscaled the textures and all the graphics and everything. But in doing so, they also AI upscaled some really low quality text, which added typos during the AI upscaling for whatever reason. There's also bad rain issues. The original games you can't buy on Steam anymore. The big PC game area, you can't buy them there. As well as that, before the game was even announced, Rockstar's parent company, Rockstar, they make GTA, Take-Two Interactive, they actually removed and DMCA'd mods and fan projects related to restoring these games and putting them to their best performance. And only a few days later, after they released GTA, the definitive trilogy, whatever, they like the mods fixed they fixed the problems, like the rain and things like that, and other things as well. What was another thing? Oh yeah, the music licensing. So some of the music is actually from the original game is missing because of music licensing. But guess what? If you hack into the game, the music from the original game is still in the files, lads.
That game is broken. It's broken.
It might be.
I am just shocked how you could make a port so sloppy and so lazy, and I could go on forever about it. Guys, your thoughts?
Yeah, the Rockstar GTA trilogy released recently with very, very bad reception. The 3 GTA games obviously were remastered. They were very old games, and what was expected was really high quality graphics with the same story, and Rockstar just couldn't deliver. Mods have better graphics than this release, and Rockstar have actually apologized for this. They said in a press statement on the 19th of November to address this. So they are going to work heavily towards fixing this and giving the consumers what they paid for. So hopefully this is all worked out, and I think it'll work out good in the end. It is a high purchase rate game, so I think Rockstar obviously do have the funds to put in to fix this.
Yeah, and I can't even believe that the mods of the game look even better than the trilogy remastered. But yeah, that apology was actually very interesting. I'd like to speak to you about it, because do you actually think that Rockstar are really going to stick with their word and actually fix these games and put them to the best possible performance? Because I know for Sonic Colors Ultimate, which I've already mentioned multiple times in the last few months, but they've been patching that game, and I mean, like, they've barely anything has changed from patch to patch. The only thing that actually got really fixed was the audio levels, and that was about it. So do you really think Rockstar are going to stick to their word, or is this just one big false hope that they're just putting out to us?
Yeah, definitely in terms of Rockstar. I mean, they're so big of a company, like, they can't fail. So I think really it has to be fixed, and they will fix it. They have the teams, they have the resources. There's nothing that would point me to think that it won't get fixed. So yeah, I'd say it would get fixed, and I'd say it'd be fixed fairly swiftly as well. You know, massive company, massive workforce. So I do genuinely think they will fix their mistakes.
Yeah, interesting analogy, James. Well, hopefully they do fix it. Jack, what about you? What do you think about this this GTA game?
So, Jack, you cannot tell me that you've never had a frame drop in real life. You know, you've never clipped through a wall. That's happened to me multiple times.
Happened to me before this game show.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, well, look, it's just part of life, isn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, at this stage, I didn't even know. I heard it got leaked before, which is even better. And I never really cared about the GTA games, so now it's just kind of like funny to me.
David, what about you? Because I know that you actually have played the GTA games and enjoyed them. What do you think as a GTA enjoyer yourself?
Yes, well, I will say that I am not as experienced as some people who play GTA. I'm not a die-hard fan, but I have played the games and I have really enjoyed it. I think one of the best things about GTA was that free obviously the sandbox feel. You can go anywhere, and the functionality of the game was always really consistent. So hearing stuff like this kind of glitches, these typos, it is baffling to me, because these games are always notorious for their quality, in their manufacturing quality. I don't know if that's the right term you could use, but yeah, and it just seems so shocking to me, with a company as big as they are, and the amount of money they've made just off that GTA 5 game. The fact they can re-release it on PlayStation 5, make a whole new trailer for it as if it's not a 10-year-old game. Because they know people will buy it because it is that good of a game, and I have a lot of memories playing the older GTA games. Can't really remember specifically the names of them, but I think it's similar to the Pac-Man game, where they're trying to, obviously this is only a trilogy, but they're putting multiple games in one. Am I right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good idea on the surface, but the execution, as you all know, is just as important, if not more important, as the idea. Because a good idea is nothing without a good execution. So it sounds like they've flopped on the execution, flopped big time, and I'm just curious to see, are they gonna fix it, like, and re-release it with, you know, an updated, remastered, or whatever the word may be. Because I think that is just absolutely ludicrous, and I think it's embarrassing for Rockstar.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you there, David. I might as well just get like the one that released on the Xbox and play it on my Xbox 360, because then I get those 3 games, GTA 4, and guess what, guys? GTA 5, the latest version of GTA!
Oh my god, that is crazy.
So, any final words, guys, before we wrap up on GTA?
All I have to say, PS2 emulator, PC SX2, okay, fine, and GTA San Andreas ROM. Okay, well, grand. I'm done looking.
And after covering that train wreck of a game, I think it's time we should end the game show for this time. Guys, thank you very much for coming on. And James, where can people find you?
So thanks for the chat, lads, and thanks, Jack, for having me on again. I've been James. You can find me on YouTube or Instagram or any social handle under James Goulding. So thanks, and I'll see you.
All right, we'll see you next time. And Jack, what about you?
You can find me on Twitch, _SSBU, or on Instagram. I forgot what I changed it.
Yeah, Jack changed his Instagram handle because the last one was a little rude. So what's it now?
It's _____ who _P. That's it.
And David, what about you? Is there any sort of last things you'd like to say? And where can people find you?
All right, Jack, just like to say, to all of you, thanks so much for having me on the game show. It's been an absolute privilege. Been great fun, even though I don't know a lot about video games. My socials, you can find me on Instagram at David_Adderley if you want to listen to some music, because this is music, this new thing called music, and I do it. So you should check it out on Instagram. Check out my YouTube with the same name, David Adderley. And that's pretty much me. You can find me on Spotify, any music streaming platforms have a new song there called Drunk Text. You can check it out if you want to. But yeah, guys, thanks so much for letting me talk about some good old video gaming.
And you can find me simply by searching up my name, Jack Lucas Caffrey. I'm on YouTube and Spotify, and that's about it. And with that, it is really time to end the game show, so thank you very much for everyone who listened in, and happy 20th anniversary to the Xbox. Take care!
1